Hey guys, this is Shakir Mumtaz, a critic, writer, analyst, thinker, and blogger. Today I'm going to talk about a very controversial issue which is very well known, especially to the non Muslim, of course, and obviously it is known to the Muslim, but it will attract especially the non Muslim because they have been vehemently criticizing the Prophet for marrying a child according to their senses of 6, 7 years old, which of course does have a source which is based on a narration in Sahih Bukhari. It is narrated by a scholar by the name of Hisham bin Urwa, whose own credibility and infirmity due to old age is in question. And his own students like Imam Malik and Abu Hanifa never made mention of this particular hadith in their lifetime. And there was another gentleman or his contemporary, Hafiz Zahabi, and Imam Malik as well. They are known to have been criticizing his Iraqi hadith due to his misquotation, or which was not obviously deliberate, but because of his uh, situation of old age and lapse of memory and infirmity. So he used to miss some of the details or misquote them, or so they were not only by these two gentlemen but also by the people of Medina. He was variously criticized for this uh, problem of misquoting or leaving the details while narrating the narratives of Hazrat Aisha or other people or even hadiths and so and so forth. So this is what I have uh, thought about and wrote a treatise detailing all the possibilities of that why this narration by Hazrat Aisha Raziyallahu Anha cannot be a true narration based on the facts which has been listed in my treatise on through various sources, and so much so that I also quoted some very uncommon sources as well, which are based on non-Muslims or non-religious, including a woman's account. So go through it, read it with an open mind, and see whether you are justified uh, in your criticism of this marriage, which was not really a marriage with a child, as generally conceived, even not only by non-Muslim but even by some ill-informed Muslims, and they go not only the non-ordinary Muslim but also the learned ones go uh, seeking refuge in things like apologeticism, universalism, contextualism, voluntarism, divine command theory, protectionism, revisionism, etc. So this is a very unfortunate situation that because they don't have the knowledge or they have never tried to dig down into it, they are forced to take refuge in these excuses, and sometimes even have to just uh, outright reject the interpretation presented in various literatures or texts, and just tell the other people that this is not valid or this has been not correct interpretation of this verse or hadith or this and that, and then they come up with their own um, convenient interpretation to justify their own point of view, uh, because they basically are hiding behind these kind of things like voluntarism, divine command theory, apologeticism, etc. So this is again, like I said earlier, is a very unfortunate situation from Muslim standpoint. So I try to clarify all these things, and I have to see how much justified I have been in this account. So please give me your candid, unbiased opinion so that I can continue on the journey, which will benefit you, benefit me, and benefit a lot of other people, especially the Muslims. So please help me with this and give me a very candid, very um, open-minded, unbiased opinion, and I would be grateful for that. Okay, I have divided this treatise into five sources, such as like historical sources, formal hadithic sources, which is flanked by the science of hadith validation by the name of an expert, well-known expert, um, Mr. Idlibi. So he has used various techniques in validation of the hadith, but I have mentioned only a couple of them, which is basically our validation through with the other narration of the same Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, which is again available in Sahih Bukhari, and also from biological accounts which he tried to verify through. So none of those basically came out as asserting that the narration, which is related or transmitted by Hisham bin Urwa, is correct, and everything else goes in contradiction of that particular narration. So go through it and look for yourself. Although from a scientific point of view, it is possible for a 9-year-old girl, given the circumstances, conducive circumstances, to be a pubescent and worthy of getting married. But that's not really my point of discussion in this treatise or in my presentation right now. So let's skip that and move on to the next level. Okay, there are a few things which I would like to explain in my presentation right now. That when Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha was at 5, 6 years of age, this what she is ascribed to her, that she said that I was about 5, 6 years of age when the Prophet, who was very friendly with my parents, used to very often visit our home every evening or every morning or whatever. And it was very common that he would come and visit my parents. And I was at that time around 5, 6 years of age. And also that at the same time that my parents were in the process of moving to Abyssinia due to some persecution of the Muslims. And it was the third year of the prophethood, according to the historical sources. And one thing more to be noted here is that the actual migration to Medina happened in the 12th or 13th year of the prophethood. And according to the confirmed sources, Prophet married to Aisha 2 years after the actual migration. So that makes it 14 years. And if she was around 5 or 6 years of age at the time of her narration, ascribed narration, so add those 5, 6 years, say 5 years, plus 14 years, so it comes to about 19 years, which is a marriageable and adult age. So it refutes her own ascribed narration that she was 5 or 6 years old when she was married to the Prophet. So it doesn't add up. That's one thing. Okay, second thing is that There is a surah in Quran, Surah Al-Qamar. According to her, it was revealed when she was around 7 or 8 years old, 3 years after the prophethood, and she remembers it very well. Again, this, if we add up all those 12 plus 2 years plus, say 7, 8 years, so it again comes to 18, 19 years of age of a girl to be married, which is obviously is a mature age. It's not an age of child. Okay, the third one is that there was a companion or scholar by the name of Imam Ahmad. He has detailed the circumstances of Prophet's marriage with Aisha radiallahu anha. And he says that after the death of Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha, he was very lonely, the Prophet, and kind of down. So there was a relative or close associate of the Prophet. Her name was Khawla bint Hakim, who suggested to the Prophet that why don't you get married? He said, he inquired who should I get married with? So she said that there is a widow and there is a virgin who are available for marriage, or you may send them the message. So he said, let's go for the virgin one. And this lady, Khawla bint Hakim or Hakim, went to the wife of the Abu Bakr and talked about Aisha radiallahu anha. So the mother of Aisha said, let the Abu Bakr come and I'll discuss with him and we'll go from there. When Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu came home, she discussed with him and he said, let me check back with the people or the family where she is already uh, engaged, whether they are still interested or what is their situation. So Aisha's family spoke with the boy's family, and they found some reluctance on the part of the mother of the boy. And upon inquiry, she came up with the idea that you really are thinking of converting my boy to Islam. There are different narration in this matter. That one narration says that she said that Aisha would change my son's religion to Islam. And the other narration mentioned that it was Abu Bakr who would change uh, her son's religion to Islam. So even then, the point here is that for a child of 6 or 7 years old, no parent would be so frantically looking for a husband for a 5, 6 year old child. So this does not really logically add up that somebody will be looking to marry off her 5, 6 year old child so uh, enthusiastically or vigorously. So one can make up his own mind logically. Okay, after that, there is a historian by the name of Muhammad Ishaq, who was, according to some account, was the very first historian of Islam. He has compiled a list of 20 people becoming Muslim in the first year of prophethood, and he listed 20 such people and gave 19th number to Aisha radiallahu anha, which it was the first year of the prophethood, and say third year she was 5, 6 years old. So let's say 3 years less than that, or 4 years. Still, if you add up 12 years plus 2 years and um, this in the first year, first of all, somebody cannot be converted or become Muslim without having sense, enough sense. So she must be around 6, 7 or 8 years old. So 12 plus 2, 14 years after Hijrah, plus 4, 5 years, 7 years, whatever. Again, whatever number you want to add, it will come to a marriageable age, not a child's age. of six, underage to be married off. So this is another. Okay, the fifth one is that Hazrat Abu Bakr Raziyallahu Anhu has another daughter elder than Aisha. Her name was Asma bint Abi Bakr, and she was of 27 years of age when they were in the process of moving to Abyssinia. And she was the one who used to take the, or say even at the actual migration, which was 12 or 13 years of age. At that time, she was 27 years of age, and she used to take food for her father, which was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and the Prophet, who were hiding in a cave during the process of migration because of avoid the attack by the non-Muslims who were looking for them. So she was the one who used to take food for them, and at that time she was pregnant a few months, and it was say we can say that it was she was 27, but she was married off by Abu Bakr at 26 years of age, say 1 year earlier, and it is also confirmed through historical sources that at that time Aisha radiallahu anha was 10 years younger than her. That means she was at least 17 years of age. And if we just take 2 years after the hijrah, it will again make her age marriageable, which is 19 or 18 or close to that. I mean, she was not a child. That's confirmed from all these sources. And then this inference is also substantiated by the injunction issued by the Prophet himself that no underage boys or girls will be taking part in any war. At that time, there was a war going on in the third after Hijrah, and there was some Hazrat Aisha, and there was another woman who was taking part in that war. Um, Her name was Sulaiman, and they used to fetch the water and tend to the injured soldiers. And if that's the case, it means that Prophet's own injunctions are being defied or rejected. So that's not possible. So that again confirms that she must be of adult age after the marriage, that she was allowed to go along with the Prophet to war and help the injured people, along with Sulaiman. Okay, there's another, apart from the Hadith verification expert Salah al-Din al-Dipi, who confirmed it by comparing the above quoted hadith with other narrations by Hazrat Aisha Raziallah Anha, which were in contradiction with those other narrations by Aisha, and also by biographical accounts. They do not add up that she was really 5-6 years of age when she was married off to Prophet Muhammad. There are so many other recent or modern scholars, you can say, who also pondered on this issue upon the veracity of this hadith, and inferred that Aisha was really not 6-7 years of age at the time of marriage, but an adult. And this narration which I just command of the injunctions or the ordinance of the Prophet I just mentioned, it just negate that she was really, rather substantiate the above inference that she was of adult age and was married to the Prophet not as a child but as an adult. Another thing is that there is a litmus test for the accuracy of any hadith, that it has to conform with the Quranic injunctions. If for some reason it doesn't, one can simply throw it out and just discard it. So again, according to the Quranic Surah number 4, verse 6 and verse 21. Again, Surah 7, verse 189, Surah 30, verse 21, they clearly lay down the rule for marriageable age for the girls and boys. So, in terms of that, this narration also does not conform with those injunctions laid down in the holy text. So, again, this narration can simply be disregarded as deficient or and discrepant or defective. So, in any sense, this thing does not add up from any account other than that this hadith is there narrated by or transmitted by Hisham bin Urwa. Another thing which contradicts this thing is that Prophet married his own daughters, Fatima at the age of 21 and Ruqayya at the age of 23. And like I mentioned earlier, Abu Bakr married his elder daughter Asma bint Abu Bakr or Abu Bakr at the age of 26. So how come he would marry another daughter of his at the age of 6, 7 years? That again doesn't add up. From these facts, it can easily be inferred that this particular narration is not only in contradiction with the Quranic verses, it also does not go in conformity with other narration of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha as well. And also one thing that after the revelations or injunctions contained in the Quran or text, the Prophet is not going to defy those conditions by any means. It is almost unthinkable. So I do not think we can easily infer that there was no exceptions granted or availed by the Prophet in this matter, as he was given an exception in the case of marrying more than 4 women in the Holy Quran, through Holy Quran, in Surah 33 and verses 50 and 51, that he was clearly given an exception to marry more than 4 wives, whereas the other ordinary Muslim, were not allowed to marry more than 4 wives or 4 women at a time. And one more point here I would like to bring to your notice is that at that time there were tons of enemies of the Prophet or Islam, and they were not only vehemently criticizing him, but they were even ready to kill him, and they did attack him several times, but they were unsuccessful. And had that been the case, that he married that 6, 7-year-old child, do you think they would have spared him? But there is no such mention in any literature anywhere that there had been a criticism of him marrying a 6, 7-year-old child. So this again tells us that no, there is something wrong with this narration, and he did not really marry a child as often propagated or, by malicious intention. But again, like I said, there is a narration available in Sahih Bukhari as well. So, which does not come to pass the test of its accuracy by any means. There were also other controversies which, such as the Sharia punishment, intolerant attitude of Islam towards other religion, and of course Aisha's marriage with the Prophet at the age of 6, 7 years. So this is in fact a very recent phenomenon adopted by or fabricated by the Islamophobes or antagonists of Islam, and it has not been there earlier. So it is very recent, or say a couple of decades ago, this thing has started, and it's a recent phenomenon to malign Islam and Prophet, questioning his judgment, ethics, morality, to convince Muslims that they are following a backward, violent, naive religion with, God forbid, a pedophile prophet, making them to seek refuge in all those kind of excuses and be apologetic and defensive. It's a very unfortunate situation, and if they read the treatise very carefully and try to digest all these arguments, which are very logical, very rational, and beyond any doubt, they would be very well armed to refute these absurd, or especially this Aisha Radhiyallahu Anha's marriage as a child to the Prophet very effectively. And that's really the hope of writing this, me writing this article or treatise, that people will, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, will be enlightened, and those who are attacking Islam and Prophet and Muslim will stop doing that, and the Muslim who are being unnecessarily defensive will be armed suitably to defend them and their religion and their own belief. So please read it and give me your candid, unbiased opinion, and I will appreciate that. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.